I look at silver as a very strategic metal, something we need as the human race to do all the things that we want to do. You've got two industries, the electric car industry, which is consuming approximately 10% of the world's supply right now and growing, fairly dramatically over the next couple of years, with governments trying to get electric cars to replace fuel combustion cars. So that ball is rolling. It's not going backwards. And then you've got solar panels, which is also an increasing marketplace. Over the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot more solar panels being constructed and consumed. So that market consumes about 10%, or actually about 12% of silver. So you've got two markets, relatively new markets, electrical cars and solar panels, that are consuming over 20% of the world's supply.
You've had the Q3, that was about a month ago, and that was for First Majestic Silver. Can you talk a little bit about folding in Jerritt Canyon into your production mix?
Sure. Well, the highlights in Q3, first of all, we held back 1.5 million ounces of silver, which turned out to be a pretty good decision, with silver now up substantially from what it was trading at in Q3. It was also the first quarter that Jerritt Canyon was in our umbrella that ran for a full quarter. So we had quite a large gold uptick in production, which was nice to see. And Ermitaño is coming along quite well. We had an Ermitaño update, and we're now seeing Ermitaño start to pour gold. We actually had our first pour just this week.
Now, you had some costs that were gone up on Jerritt Canyon. You're going to be able to get those costs down.
Yeah, we had to upgrade or lift the tailings dam, number 2, at a cost of about $13 million, which hit our all-in sustaining costs. So part of that was in Q2, a very small amount, but about $9 million of that $13 million hit Q3. So that's a big number, to hit all-in sustaining costs. So that'll finish, it's now coming to an end this quarter. So those costs will disappear as of really in the next couple of weeks. And then Q1, we should see a pretty nice improvement in cost at Jerritt Canyon.
I'd like to talk about that timing of the silver sales as well, too. Those are kind of big strategic decisions that you can make when you're given like the size of the company as well, too. What types of decisions do you make in terms of those sales, or what can you make?
Well, I guess it's that trading blood in me.
Yeah.
I came from that side of the business back in the 80s. I worked for 3 of the largest national banks on the floor of the Vancouver Stock Exchange, trading equities for those banks and arbitraging, equities, between the different markets in Canada and within the United States. So it's just kind of that trading blood that, when I look at a market, silver is very volatile. We know that. Silver can go up $5 or down $5 in a quarter. We hate to see it, but it's reality. That's something we have to get used to, or we are used to. And when I see things like that happen, I just like to take advantage of it, and that's what we did.
You have the tax dispute right now with Mexico. Can you provide an update?
Sure. Well, it's now under NAFTA. The committee or the board or the review board has now been formed. The chairman has now been put in place. There's been one meeting of that committee, and the next meeting's not scheduled until, I believe, March of 2022. So it's a bit of a long process. It's likely going to last a couple more years.
Now, there's a lot of uses for silver. There's the investment side, there's a jewelry side, but if you look at your presentation, you're leading all with industrial mans. I think that the first slide is an electric car, and I think that the second slide is the solar panels.
Right. Yeah, and I think silver's, in my opinion, and most people hear me talk about silver on a pretty regular basis, and I claim it's the probably the most misunderstood metal on the planet. People look at silver as a poor man's gold, and there's many people out there that still say that today. I don't look at silver that way at all. I look at silver as a very strategic metal, something we need as the human race to do all the things that we want to do. You've got two industries, the electric car industry, which is consuming approximately 10% of the world's supply right now and growing, fairly dramatically over the next couple of years, with governments trying to get electric cars to replace fuel combustion cars. So that ball is rolling. It's not going backwards. And then you've got solar panels, which is also an increasing marketplace. Over the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot more solar panels being constructed and consumed. So that market consumes about 10%, or actually about 12% of silver. So you've got two markets, relatively new markets, electrical cars and solar panels, that are consuming over 20% of the world's supply.
Your other hat, you're chair of First Mining Gold. You had environmental assessment news.
Yeah, great news. The permitting process is just, long and boring. and unfortunately, that's just the case. Right? And, you look at the Lassonde curve, relatively famous curve that you can look at, and that you go through the exploration phase, you go through the development phase, and then construction and production and so on. And the development phase is where First Mining is currently at, and it's the longest and most boring phase. And that's when shareholders have to be the most patient. I bought some stock just a couple of days ago because the price, in my view, is just ridiculous. But that's just my opinion, and it could be a couple more years before a permit is actually accomplished for that asset. But it's a huge mine. It's a 5 million ounce mine. It's going to be a 300,000 ounce plus producer for a mine life of over 12 years. And there's just no assets like that around. And it's going to be producing gold at probably less than $700 an ounce. So it's just a fantastic asset. We're happy to have it, but de-risking an asset like that just takes time. Yeah, the move has surprised me a little bit because the economy is still doing quite well. Interest rates, really haven't come down what I expected they would so far. You've got inflation running high, which is inflating gold and helping copper. It hasn't, the metal that's probably surprised me the most is silver. Because you've got the other metals moving. You've got oil at $80+. You've got copper at, $4 plus and looking, like it's on its way to $5. You've got natural gas north of $5. So you got a lot of commodities. Look at all the grains, so everything's been moving except silver. And that's the one that I think is going to play catch up. Gold is going to, in my view, reach all-time highs, but probably not until next year or until the year after.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.